Okay, so we have our model set up. The turtles are there, but we haven't written the Go code at all in order to get the model up and running in terms of the actual model actions. So we're going to start that. So we already have our stub down here for to go, right? And we're just going to do something very simple. We're going to say ask the turtles, right? If the color equals blue, then act bravely, because as you can see, actually act cowardly, I apologize, because that's what we set it to up in the setups routine. And if the color equals red, act bravely, right? And, you know, act brave, sorry, scrolled too far. Act cowardly and act bravely are not built in NetLogo commands, obviously. So when we hit check, it's going to say nothing named act cowardly has been defined. So the next thing we have to do, almost forgot, we need to add a tick at the end of our go. That tells NetLogo that we're done with that iteration of the go loop and it's time to go on to the next one. But what we need to do now is we need to define act cowardly and act bravely. And actually, at this point, the model will run. It's just not going to do anything because we haven't put anything in these procedure commands. So, you know, when we hit procedure, you'll see the ticks run, but nothing else actually happens, right, when we hit setup and go. So now we need to define act bravely and act cowardly. And let's start with act bravely, actually, because that one's a little bit easier. So I'll go ahead and move it up a little higher. So what does it mean to act bravely when we think about it from the modeling perspective, right? Well, from the modeling perspective, acting bravely means to move toward the midpoint of your friend and your enemy, right? One way to think of it is as if you're trying to imagine an invisible line connecting your friend to your enemy, and you're going to move into the middle of that point, right? And you know, the original rules aren't very clear as exactly the middle of the game, but you know, that middle makes sense just because that way, even as other people move, you're likely to kind of be there in the middle, right? So how can we do this? Well, we can use that face XY command that we looked at last time, and we can say, let's take the x coordinate of our friend, and we'll add it to the x coordinate of the enemy, right? And then we're going to divide that by 2. And what that's going to tell us is the x value that's halfway in between my friend and my enemy, right? Because whatever those 2 x coordinates are, if I basically average them, I get the middle point between them, right? And then we're going to also, at the same time, set the y coordinate to the same midpoint, right? The y coordinate of a friend plus the y coordinate of my enemy divided by 2, right? And sometimes this won't auto-indent necessarily, but it should work, right? So then we'll auto-indent exactly correctly. And then we'll just add a little forward 0.1. You know, we could do forward 1. The problem with forward 1 is that it makes the animation a little jerky. So we'll just have it move a little bit slower than that, right? So that's what it means to act bravely. And at this point, if you look back at the code and you kind of trace through, if we have those systems set up to heroes, that should work already. So let's go back over, hit setup, and hit go. And sure enough, you see some action going on. So we've written the act bravely, we've written the setup, and now we need to write the act cowardly command. So what does the cowardly action look like? Well, the cowardly action has the focal agent move in such a way that the friend is between them and the enemy. So one way we could think of this is we could figure out how far the friend is away from the enemy and then kind of project a point on the other side of the friend that is the point we're going to try and aim to move towards, right? So we're going to move away from the enemy on the other side of the friend, right? And so we can use this face XY command again, and the first thing we need to figure out is where is our friend located, because we need to move to the other side of them. And then we're going to move in such a way that we're going to move past them the distance they are away from the enemy. So to do that, right, we can just take the x-coordinate of the friend and subtract off the x-coordinate of the enemy, right? And this should give us a distance on the other side of the friend now, right? And then we can do the same thing for the y-coordinate as well, right? And we have this all written in now. And once we've done this, we just need to do the forward so that we actually move in that direction, not just face that direction, right? And then now we should have all the code we need up and running to get our model working, right? So now we can ask the question, what is the emergent property when we run the heroes code as opposed to the emergent property that we run the cowards code? So we can set up and we hit heroes, and as you can see, the point quickly collapses to the middle of the space, right? If we hit cowards instead, right, then we get very different action. We get this action, everyone is actually spread out all over the place, right? In fact, this is in a world in which we don't have wrapping turned on, so that it's essentially everyone's, we do have wrapping turned on, so everyone's moving everywhere. If we go and we turn wrapping off, which would be more like what you would imagine if the game was being played in a bounded room, right? Then we get another different interesting behavior. So everyone moves to the exact edges of the room. And so why is this happening? Well, if you think about it a little bit, right? In the coward's case, you're trying to move as far away as possible, and everyone's trying to move far away as possible, so they're moving farther and farther away from each other, right? And as a result, they try and eventually hit the borders of the room, which is as far as they can get. In the hero's case, everyone is trying to move between someone and someone else, and so as everyone tries to do that, they move closer and closer to each other until they collapse into a ball in the middle of the room. So that's the basic idea, the heroes and cowards model. In the next set of talks, we're going to talk a little bit about extending it, about some of the things that this model teaches us, and about how to document the model. But at this point, you've now created one of your first models, so congratulations.